Hi everyone, back to my YouTube channel. It's Chris back with another Rumour Has It video. We'll talk about players linked to the football club this coming transfer window this summer, which has been a bit flat, it must be said. We really are struggling to bring in players. We've brought in some goalkeepers. Lewis Hall's deal went from loan to permanent, but outside of that, we've really struggled for key areas. We brought in Sala from Sheffield United as a third choice striker, but we're really looking to bring in a first choice right-footed centre-half and a right winger. They're the two key areas. Now, we all know the club have been looking at Marc Guehi, but that seems to be a real struggle, a real hard deal to pull off. So we're going to talk about an alternative player right now who's in the media, go through the stats, talk about what we think the player would be like. Is he worth it? Is he not worth it? And then, let us know in the comments below what you guys think. Just before we get into that, as we always say, if you haven't already, smash subscribe. We'd love you to come and join us. We're over 8,300 subs, so we're closing in on the 8.5, then on to 9K. We've got a belter price for 9K subs, and then hopefully pushing to 10 an even better price. So recommend us to family and friends. You won't regret it. We're a very up-and-coming Newcastle channel. We've only been a couple of years old compared to some of the more staunch long-term channels, but, you won't regret watching us, guys. We've got loads of great content for you to get stuck into. So who am I talking about? Who am I rambling about in this Rumour Has It video? Well, I'm talking about this lad right here, Joe Gomez. Now, some of you might have spat your tea or coffee out and started swearing already at the screen, but hear me out for a second. So it looks like the Marc Guehi deal, like I say, is just becoming a bit farcical, really. And I blame that kind of melted waxwork of an owner, Steve Parish, who looks like he's just taking the piss, really, out of Newcastle. Newcastle make a bid, he rejects it and says, yeah, go to that level. Then they make a bid to that level, and he rejects that and increases his level. And around and around and around we go. He's wanting up to 70 million quid for a centre-half. Let's face it, had he not played for England this summer, we probably would have got the deal done for 30 million quid less. I think he's taking the piss. I think Newcastle are probably soon going to walk away from this deal, and rightly so, because they won't have their pants pulled down and their arses spanked, which is exactly what Eddie Howe said in his press conference. So we're looking at alternative targets. And one of these names that's came out is Joe Gomez for Liverpool. Now, Joe Gomez has been a decent player for Liverpool, right? Before you get into all of the other noise about it, we'll get into his stats in a minute. This lad can play. This lad is a good centre-half, right? He's 27 years old. He's in England international. He's got 15 caps. He was part of the England squad in the Euros this summer just gone. He can play right across the back. He can play centre-half. He can play right back. And he can play left back. As a matter of fact, he's played right back 98 times in his career, left back 31 times in his career, defensive midfield twice, but predominantly he's been a centre-half. In terms of what Gomez can do, he's very good in the air. He's quick. He's good on the ball. He carries the ball really well. He's won trophies at Liverpool. He's a winner. Now, looking at his stats, as you can see there, his tackles, he's up in the 74th percentile. Tackles won, he's in the high 80s. Interceptions, he's in the 70s. Blocks in the 60s. Clearance is a little bit lower in the high 50s. Passes, he's in the 60s. Pass completion in the high 70s. Progressive passes, he's right up there in the kind of 80s, 90s. Key passes in the 65th percentile. Passes to the final third in the high 80s. Progressive carries, a little bit lower, but not bad for a centre-half by all accounts. Shot creation chances, he's up there. Aerials one, he's right at the top. So the boy is great in the air. Touches is quite strong too. Errors, he can make the odd error now and again. Dispossessed, fouls are kind of thereabouts, but recoveries are really strong as well. Now, you got to mitigate this with the fact that he's playing for Liverpool. So he's playing for a very good side, a lot of good players around him that can make him look a little bit better. But in terms of his weekly wage, he's only on 85 grand. Transfer market value at 23 million. He's contracted till 2027. Now, there's a few issues with this. The first issue is that Liverpool apparently want 40 to 45 million for Joe Gomez. And I'll tell you why that's an issue in a minute. Everything I've just said about him, 40 million quid should seem like a snip, shouldn't it? But there is mitigations with this. Injuries are the biggest problem that Joe Gomez has faced over the last few years, and serious injuries as well. You go back to 2021 season where he had tendon problems. He missed 231 days, 51 games for club and country together. Prior to that, he had ankle surgery, missed 25 games. You know, going back there in 16, 17, he had more tendon problems, 47 games. And the big one in 15, 16 was a cruciate ligament injury, 104 games combined for club and country. That's a bit of a red flag, is that, in terms of his fitness levels. We've already got Callum Wilson taking up space in the treatment table. We don't really need another player in there as well. Now, I think he's a good player for what it's worth. If you can keep him fit, I think he's a very good player. But he's not worth 40 to 45 million quid. 30 million quid, maybe, yes, given the injury problems. But I think if Liverpool want 40 million quid, they're going to end up with a player in their books that nobody is going to buy. Look at the radar grid and how he compares to Fabian Schär. You know, he's pretty strong pretty much against everything Fabian Schär does except for blocks and clearances. But again, that might be kind of swayed at the fact that, you know, they're playing for us and not Liverpool. But in terms of the player himself, I think he'd be a good addition to the squad, especially if we can't get Guehi. I think Newcastle should walk away from the Guehi deal if they keep taking the piss out of it, because if you're going to drop 65 million quid, 70 million quid in your centre half, what you got left for your winger, which is probably just as big of a key position, if not more key, than the right-sided centre-half position. So if Gomez is the player that comes in for around about kind of 30 million quid, I wouldn't be overly upset by it, because I think if you can keep the lad fit, I think it's a good player in there, still experienced, England international, title winner, you know, European Cup winner, you know, all that kind of stuff, FA Cup winner, you know. So I think the lad can play, you know, and he knows how to play at the highest level. And I think he would fit into the squad quite well. I think he's got good attributes that would lend themselves to Newcastle. But the only concern for me is the robustness of the player and how injury prone he may be. We've got players that are ready. We don't need more players like that. I'd rather see us go maybe get someone like a Diamande from Sporting, who I think could be an unbelievable player for us. You know, he's younger than Gomez as well. He's an absolute beast. You could probably get him for about 50 million quid. So he's kind of in the middle of, you know, what the lower point of Gomez and the higher point of Guehi. Now, for what it's worth, I think Marc Guehi wants to sign for Newcastle. I think Palace are pricing him out of a move. We've seen this happen loads before. You know, Harry Kane, Spurs, Man City is a prime example. And maybe Guehi won't get his move and we won't get the player. But Newcastle need to get themselves in line quick and have alternative options, because they can't be held at ransom for Guehi. And they need to get a quality replacement in, because now Fabian Schär is missing for 3 games. That ban will not be overturned. Newcastle are going to be in real trouble. Kraft came in and did a really good job, you know, and because the fixture list is kind as we may get away with it. But I really think we need to get this right side centre half in lickety split, thanks to Fabian Schär's red card. Hopefully it will be Guehi, but not at the price that Palace are quoted. Let us know in the comments below what you guys think about Gomez. Would you take him? You know, maybe a loan to buy deal could be an option. Liverpool get him off the wage books, you know, and then we can maybe buy him at the end of the season if he stays fit and puts in good performances. But let us know in the comments below. We always like to hear from you. Smash a subscribe if you want. Like the video to help the channel grow. Have a bell wherever you are. We'll be back with some more Rumour Has It videos soon. See you later.